I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Sorry, I got in the spirit of my newest movie review. It's called Fools Rush In, and I'm a fool. And I rushed in on Valentine's Day for you with I love you. It's a little, I came in a little hot there. I'm sorry. It's just, when you watch this film, you can't help but just do things impulsively, like Mary Salma Hayek. And thus begins the journey. Fools Rush In, which is clearly based on the Elvis Presley song, because guess what? It takes place in Vegas. Uh, I got this. I got this mainly because I didn't own it. This is my second review. Well, depending on how you watched in the order, this is my first review of for Valentine's Day. Um, Apple has a sale going on that I noticed, and I picked up two things that I didn't own on DVD. Actually, I picked up more than that, but I only watched two of them. Um, Things I didn't own on physical media, and some of them had audio description, and a couple of them did not. But I didn't own them anyway, so I was like, I kind of would like to. These are two films that I would have bought at some point, and for $5, it's like, yeah, whatever. Especially since the passing of Matthew Perry, this film has become even more special in my heart because I honestly think this is really the only cinematic achievement in his career. I know it doesn't have a positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but when you rewatch it, it's actually fine. I can't say that for, Three to Tango or Almost Heroes. I just don't think those films really work. So this film is great though. I've liked it since it came out. Um, I've seen it now a couple of times. I'm not gonna say a lot of times. This is maybe my fourth or fifth time seeing Fools Rush In. It did come out in like 1997, so I've had a lot of times to casually catch it over the years. Uh, as I pointed out, it stars Matthew Perry, Salma Hayek. It also stars John Tenney, um, and it's directed by Andy Tennant, who actually happens to have directed one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. True favorites, like top favorites, Sweet Home Alabama, which I have seen just an ungodly amount of times. Above 10 for sure. I think I did a review of Sweet Home Alabama for my 40 for 40 when I was letting you guys know some of my favorite films of all time. Sadly, this one does not have audio description on in the Apple Store, but I didn't think it would. I was kind of optimistic that more of these films. There are plenty of films that do, and some of them I own and I just didn't pick up. I was like, eh. I got some that I don't own and they had audio description, and some that I don't own and they don't have audio description. It was a good sale. It was like $5. I remember going to the $5 DVD bin. Um, so Matthew Perry, rest in peace, gives his best cinematic performance, I think, in this film. Arguably, his TV work is phenomenal. He's got even the Ron Clark Story, which is technically a TV movie that he did through Hallmark. He was terrific on The West Wing. He had Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which is one of those like one season wonders that you can't even believe. You watch and you're like, how did this not get picked up for a second season? I still to this day, I'm just like, I don't understand why there's only one season of the show. It was a great show, and it's one of those things that like Firefly, Freaks and Geeks, a couple of those shows have really held up as one season wonders, and that's definitely one of them. Also, Go On, I noticed, has really caught on since since his passing in a way that Mr. Sunshine has not. Go On has been available on a couple streaming services where it's doing quite well. So, kind of, I'm guessing that's showing, the people who canceled it, that maybe that show had more than one season left in it. Um, so, yeah, always an underrated actor, and perhaps things deserve to go better for Matthew Perry than they did in terms of his career. he plays Alex in this. He plays a guy who is launching nightclubs, and originally he wants to go to Japan, but then his friend lets him in on a secret, and is like, "No, I got a super sweet deal in Vegas," and so he gets to go to Vegas and open up a club for this corporation that I guess builds nightclubs all over the place, which is sort of like an interesting, like, franchising nightclubs. I don't know. I don't know if that exists as a company, but he does it in this film. Um, and yeah, so he's there to oversee the building of this big nightclub in Vegas. And while waiting to use the bathroom one night, he runs into Salma Hayek's Isabel, and they get to talking. And then a montage happens, and there's no audio description. And then we cut a little bit ahead in the future, and then later on, the next time he sees Isabel, it's been 3 months, and we find out they slept together, and she's pregnant. And their relationship just moves really fast from there. You know, he goes to meet the parents. He wants to be involved in their life. They get married. He's, you know, I mean, they barely know each other. So it's like doing everything backwards and falling in love while making these big decisions and big choices. And it's, you know, does it work? It's got a lot of complications in it because, again, they don't really know each other. They kind of just hooked up and got pregnant. They didn't really date. They, you know, I mean, when he's on his way to see her parents, he's having to like get a crash course on her life, so he can seem like they're an actual boyfriend and not just two people who had sex one night. Oddly enough, this movie starts out as a Christmas movie. I didn't even realize that, but at the beginning of the film, it's like Christmas music is playing, and I'm like, is this like a Christmas movie? And I forgot. But it's just the time of the year that it starts out at. So it's just kind of funny that my first inclination was, oh, I picked this for Valentine's Day. I was like, oh my God, did I pick a Christmas movie for Valentine's Day? Did I forget Fools Rush In is actually a Christmas movie? But no, it abandons the Christmas thing really quickly. It's just the very beginning of the film when they're talking about going to Vegas. He happens to be at like a Christmas party. And then, of course, time passes because they're going through a pregnancy. So you have he has to meet somebody in Vegas, and then you have like the 9-month journey from there. So, yeah, so it's not a Christmas movie. It's A Year in the Life of Alex. Alternative title for Fools Rush In. Yeah, so it's interesting. Alex has his own upbringing and his own past, and he's got this girl that just keeps coming around that Alex is trying to avoid, that's from his past, and like, you know, her parents are friends with his parents, one of those things, and he just can't stand her. And his own parents have thoughts on things, but her parents have thoughts on things, and it's a culture clash. You know, he's white, she's Latina, so of course they have to explore that. And mainly this is charming. It's just charming if you like Matthew Perry and Salma Hayek. They're both really good here. Salma Hayek is delightful in this role. She's cute, she's sexy, she's fire, she's everything that we know and love and that she grows to be. She's not that far removed from doing Spanish language fare either. So it's, you know, to see such a strong performance from her here. Yeah, she's, you know, compared to, I think I recently reviewed Vanilla Sky, which Penelope Cruz gets a lot of sort of unfair flack because she's not quite ready to be doing acting in English, and some of the words and the way she says them don't quite land. She doesn't have 100% grasp over what she's saying. So she ended up getting nominated for a lot of like worst of the year type performances. And it's not, it's not really fair. It's weird to think about that too now when you look at how many times Penelope Cruz has been nominated for Academy Awards. Of course, Salma Hayek went on for Frida, so to win for Frida. So yeah, um, I don't. It's it's good that that Salma Hayek didn't get that kind of flack early on in her career and just was allowed to be herself. I think she had already done Desperado at this point. But I can't think of anything else other than Desperado before this. So, um, yeah, it's a much better film than people give it credit for, that its Rotten Tomatoes score reflects. It's not a classic. It's also not necessarily the best watch without audio description if you've never seen it before. This film loves to montage its way through time. So there are a couple times in the film where it just kind of plays some music and time passes. You know, something's happening. You're like, I don't know what this is. Honestly, I've seen Fools Rush In a couple times, and even though I remember sort of like the beginning, middle, and end, and some of the parts, I didn't remember what was happening in those montages. Um, it's not a film I've seen 1,000 times. Uh, it's there are some films that I have, and they're like the visual imagery is ingrained in my brain. Jurassic Park is one of them. It's one of the only ones that like I can play Jurassic Park and I can actually remember the camera angle. I can remember the lighting. I can, you know what I'm saying? Like I can fill in a lot of like I can remember kind of what people were wearing. Like there's so many things in that film because of how many times I've seen it. Not true here. Um, there are a couple little images that that pop into my head from Fools Rush In. Sort of like what his house looks like when they move into. But that's about it. Yeah, not a whole lot of stuff is here. So, uh, but if you've been trying to figure out and you haven't already, this trended for a while. I noticed in the on the Apple Store in the top 100. So I think a lot of people love Fools Rush In, and when Matthew passed, a lot of people revisited this film as a way to honor him. And if you haven't done that yet, it's a great way to do that. You can also, like I said, he's other than Friends, he does have other TV show roles that you can explore if you wanted to explore a side other than Chandler Bing of his career, because people should be remembered for doing more than one thing when they actually have done more than one thing. I think this is his best starring vehicle, I should say, of the things that we tried to make a film star out of him with. So check out Fools Rush In if you're part of the side audience. If you're part of the non-sided audience, I can't give this film, the pass that I need to here, because again, montages, they're weird and I have no idea what happens in them. If this film is just dialogue, it's not hard to follow, but because of the montages and the leaps in time, you're like, what just happened to that montage? Unfortunately, my Grateful Fools Rush In without audio description is unwatchable. However, this is a second look. I have seen this film like 4 times, so if you want to get a general vibe for do I like this film, the answer is yes, I do. But as a blind film critic, I can't go ahead and on good faith endorse this as being like a good time, especially if you're having to drop $5 on it. I don't know that that's. You'd have to be familiar with the film to really grasp through these montages. Anyway, yeah, that's what I wanted to do today for Valentine's. Check out my other review. It's of When Harry Met Sally. I did 2 Valentine's Day movies, one with audio description and one without. Yeah, so click subscribe. I have a website, MacMovieGuy.com. You can go to X Threads or Instagram and follow me at MacMovieGuy. You can go to the Audio Description Project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what is audio description, where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org, that's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it for me. Hope you have a happy Valentine's Day or happy Singles Day or Lent. Don't give me up for Lent, please. Subscribe. Instead of giving me up for Lent, why don't you commit to me for 40 days for Lent? Anyway, I'll see you guys on the other side.